96.7 KCAL rocks. It is time to talk some sports as we get pretty damn close to this weekend's action. That's why we love talking to our guy Pep on a Thursday morning. Pep, what's going down?
Patrick, good morning. Good morning to all the rockers out there. Well, the Rams did it, man. They won on Monday Night Football. They advanced to the divisional round, and now they're going to have to go on the road, kind of like how they had to do in the first round, right? That neutral site game in Arizona because of the fires. But now they will really go on the road into one of the most hostile places in the NFL, maybe the most hostile, in Philadelphia. They're going to take on the Eagles. And Patrick, we were talking about this matchup a little bit off the air. Both teams got some good offensive players, but I feel like what the Rams did defensively against Minnesota really shined a light on how good this team is on defense. And I know we talk about Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and all those guys on offense, but the Rams are really good on defense despite not having Aaron Donald this season. I think this could be a low-scoring slobber knocker. I mean, a real slugfest.
I mean, let's face it. They hit on a couple of draft picks, man. Kitchens back there in the secondary. And Jared Verse, my goodness, that front four. You would have thought, just like you said, without Aaron Donald, there's going to be trouble. This kid, Jared Verse from New Albany or wherever they picked him from, they saw some talent in him, and what a pick it was. My goodness. So it makes me wonder. We do know the previous matchup, Saquon Barkley ran wild. So, I mean, that's why I'm thinking, yes, it's a tough environment. They just lost a home game. You know, they lost their home field advantage, I should say at least, and they still came through. They showed up. They're on a shorter week, but something tells me there's some resiliency, obviously, about this Rams team. I think there's a chance here. Obviously, they have to stop Saquon Barkley. Let's say they do. I think there's a shot here.
Yeah, I don't think there's a ton of confidence right now in Jalen Hurts trying to win the game. Let's say they stuff Saquon Barkley. Let's say they can't run the football. They have to throw the football. I mean, Jalen Hurts is obviously a really good quarterback, and he's made a lot of plays. But the offense doesn't revolve around him anymore. It is Saquon Barkley. So if Jalen Hurts has to carry the Eagles to a victory, I don't know how that's going to look. I mean, could he do that? Maybe. But for the Rams, if that defense is playing the way it is, offensively, they're probably not going to have to score a lot of points. I mean, they dominated Minnesota in that 27-9 victory. I was shocked. I didn't see the first half of the game. I got in my car. I turned the game on, and I'm like, wait, there's no way the Rams are up this big in the second half. And it wasn't even close. I mean, this is a Minnesota team that was great all year. They kind of collapsed at the end in their biggest games of the year. But that was a really good Vikings team. Maybe the Rams are clicking at the right time. They're finally healthy. But Philadelphia is a tough place to win at. In Philly, man, that's a tough ask.
Definitely. And then I'm also thinking it could come down to coaching. And yes, Sirianni has pulled it together. But I do think that Saquon Barkley is kind of that magic marinara. He covers up for a lot of mistakes. You know, he makes a lot of things, bad play calling, any of that. He can cover up for that. If he's not there, I do think there's a possibility Sirianni could get out-coached here. That's why I think, not that they're going to blow him out or anything like that. I think it's going to be a really tight game. And I think the Rams can pull it off. I just have a weird feeling.
I do too, and I think we talked about this before. I don't think anybody wanted to play the Rams in the playoffs because you just don't know. Like they kind of came on strong at the end, but you're like, man, they've got a lot of talent. You don't want to have to get past them to get to the Super Bowl. So it's gonna be a tough game. I think it's gonna be low scoring. I think it's gonna be a slugfest. That's one of the NFC games. The other one is our guy, Jayden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner, the pride of Cajon High School right here in San Bernardino. They're going to go on the road to take on the number 1 seed, Detroit. If anyone can beat Detroit, it would be Jayden Daniels. But again, just like the Rams going to Philly, the Commanders going into Detroit, that's another mountain to climb.
Another tough assignment.
Yes.
As we say, we have here. But kind of a similar deal. I love it that you brought these two things up because they are obviously connected to us in a huge way. A kid from Purdue doing his thing. He's ahead of schedule. Even if he doesn't win this game, we still think he's done amazing this season. But I'm glad you brought him up in terms of these are the two scariest teams in the playoffs. Yeah. They're the most dangerous teams, I feel, in the playoffs. It's going to be really exciting to see what happens, especially in these two games and the other games as well. You know what I mean? It's going to be a great weekend of football watching if Jayden was able to pull off the miracle. We're starting to get into this thing where we're not going to be shocked, and maybe we should be.
You know, the Lions have been taking those that natural progression, right, to get to the top of the mountain. In fact, I just wrapped up last night that documentary on Aaron Rodgers, and I forgot his final game in Green Bay, his final game in a Packers uniform, the Lions knocked them out, and they made the playoffs, and that was 2022. And that was really the rise. It was like, oh my gosh, are the Lions actually good? And then obviously last season what they did, and now this year as the number one seed, they've taken that natural progression that maybe Washington will make. You know what I mean? Like maybe Jayden's accelerating that process, but maybe Washington's kind of following in Detroit's footsteps. But I feel like this is the next step for the Lions, is to get to, beat Washington, get to the NFC Championship game again, but this time make it to the Super Bowl.
Something amazing is going to happen this year in these NFL playoffs. We just don't know what it is. Yeah. I mean, something could be lining up where we could have Buffalo and Detroit in the Super Bowl, two long-suffering cities. It's amazing.
I think that's what a lot of people want to see, right?
Yeah.
The Bills and the Lions, two teams that would love to have a Super Bowl championship. And speaking of the Bills, over in the AFC, they're taking on the Ravens, which should be, at least on paper, the best game of the weekend, Ravens and Bills. That's going to be amazing. The Chiefs are at home against the Texans. Not many people are giving Houston a chance in that matchup, but man, just like Jayden Daniels, you can't count out C.J. Stroud, right? He is mature beyond his years. If anyone can go into Kansas City, it would be a guy like C.J. Stroud.
He's taken his lumps this year, and he's straight IE. He's still standing, another dangerous individual. He's got to love that everyone is counting him out. I bet he is just relishing it. Somebody's going to exercise his demons this weekend. And who's it going to be?
Hey, what about a Houston versus Washington Super Bowl, right? The Rancho Kook against San Bernardino. Come on, let's do this.
It's amazing, man. It would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it would be. But they got some tough matchups coming up this weekend. Patrick, the other big NFL news, of course, the coaching carousel, right, where these teams have head coaching vacancies. Which guy is going to step in there? Of course, the Dallas Cowboys opening is maybe from the outside looking in the most, sexy because of they are America's team, the Cowboys. And right now, Deion Sanders' name is being tossed around. Kellen Moore, his name is being tossed around. So, I think a lot of people would want the Cowboys job because it is the Cowboys job.
Right. What's going to happen there? I do want to give Mike McCarthy a little bit of credit because I feel like Jerry Jones kind of tried to squeeze him and, push the negotiating thing right in his face. And Mike McCarthy was like, I'm out. To me, that makes Mike McCarthy's stock rise. Like, I'm done playing this game.
Yeah, you know what? And I think he kind of jumped through a lot of hoops, right, to stay in Dallas and play their game, as I use air quotes here. So, and Mike McCarthy's a great coach. I mean, he's won a Super Bowl. He being tied to Chicago Bears, I think.
Right.
So he'll probably pop up somewhere else. But again, who's going to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys? I think their franchise is worth more money than any other franchise sports team on the planet. So that's a big job,
It is. No matter. I know a lot of people like to give our Cowboy fans a lot of flack.
Of course.
It is what it is.
Yeah, of course we do. And finally, Patrick, let's talk a little NBA, couple notes. Man, I don't know if you saw the Clippers last night, but Kawhi Leonard is back. He's in his fourth game back from the knee injury. We hadn't seen this guy for forever, but he is back. He's playing pretty well. He had 23 points in a 126-67 blowout of the Brooklyn Nets, the biggest win by way of margin for the Clippers ever. What is that? 59 points margin of victory for the Clippers last night against the Nets.
And I'm happy for our very own Kawhi, the Claw, if you will,
Yes.
Could be back. Because, we were wondering, hey, is there more to this injury than what we're hearing? But he looked pretty good, Pep. Will he last the whole season? Maybe.
I hope so, man. He's been on the shelf for a long time. Hopefully to be 100%, 1,000% ready to go, and with the Clippers. But he'll probably still get the load management stuff and get some nights off. But if he can stay healthy, throughout the season into the playoffs, that's what it's all about for the Clippers. That's why they're paying him so much money.
Injuries, man, they matter,
Yeah.
and it sucks.
Yeah, 100%. But that was a big win, a good moment for the Clippers last night. And finally, our guy, Jared McCain, the pride of Centennial High School in Corona, a rookie guard for the Philadelphia 76ers. He just tore his meniscus. He is done for the year. He was averaging over 15 points per game, and he was the rookie of the month this past month. And it looked like he was going to be the NBA Rookie of the Year. He was leading all rookies in scoring. But, man, he is shut down for the year. Philly is not having a good season. They are not title contenders anymore. So, but a quick shout-out to our guy here from the IE.
And, I mean, we've talked about this before, but now it really seems to be forming. Is there a black cloud over Philadelphia? Sidebar. I know Rams fans are hoping it's a black cloud. Is there a black cloud over Philadelphia? We find out this weekend, man. I cannot wait. But really unfortunate for that young man from Centennial. That's why we got our guy, Pep. He knows the locals. And a lot of the locals that you've covered since they were just little kids are in the NFL playoffs and in the NBA. It's a really, really cool thing. That's why we talk to our guy, Pep. Tell him how to get your stuff.
Hey, if your team's out of the playoffs like mine, like the 49ers, you can also root for our guy from Rancho Kook, our guy from San Bernardino. So we got local rooting interests. You can get my stuff on Inland Sports, Facebook, Instagram, aka X. What am I missing? YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X. Did I hit? I think I hit them all. Yeah. Just search Inland Sports. You'll find us. That's Inland Sports.
Thanks, Pep.